as the concern for Biden's health grows, there's many people asking the question of, could Democrats potentially replace Biden as their nominee? What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video. Today, it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election because, as all of you know, basically the entire time Biden has been the president, there has been question mark after question mark about his health. I mean, every day it seems like a new clip shows up of him looking confused, not knowing where he is, messing up the names of the president of Egypt. It's a mess. The point is, the entire time, there's been people asking, is Biden really fit to serve as president of the United States? Well, those questions have really intensified the past week after the special counsel basically said he's incompetent, he doesn't know when he was the vice president, he doesn't know when his son died, all of that. Well, now, people are asking a very fascinating question. Will Democrats really go with Biden as their nominee? Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Now, I do want to be 100% clear. I think Biden has a 99.9% chance of being the Democrat nominee. I think it's a foregone conclusion. They're going with Biden. I just highly doubt the Democrats bail on him now when they could have done it last year. But either way, I do want to talk about the possibility of, hey, what if Democrats do decide to just get rid of Biden? It is, I guess, a possibility. It's not going to happen, but there is a fascinating possibility of this could happen. Theoretically, this could happen when the convention happens in Chicago. So let's get into it. Washington is abuzz with fresh concerns about President Joe Biden's fitness after a special counsel report released Thursday raised questions about his memory, which I think is an understatement. I mean, if flat out said, yeah, we're not going to even attempt to put him in front of a jury because the jury would find him innocent because they would see him as weak, old, just old dude that can't remember anything. That's not good. That shouldn't be your president. Hell, he couldn't even remember when he was the vice president. That report was a disaster for that reason. That's why people are saying, hey, maybe this guy shouldn't be the president of the United States. But Democrats have rallied around Biden, and despite the fantasies of some pundits and anxious Democrats, the president is almost certain to be the Democrat presidential nominee as long as he wants it. Which, yeah, unless Biden doesn't want the nomination, he's gonna get it. I mean, how do you throw him out now? But this actually details, we'll get to in a minute, this article details how it could go down. It's messy, but there is a possibility. Both parties have moved away from the era when insiders in pro-verbal, smoke-filled rooms could be kingmakers of the national conventions, and Biden has dominated every primary he's competed in thus far. Yeah, so we're not in 1890 where it would be a lot easier to pull something like this, because now you got a primary system, you have the delegates, and I know you got the super delegates, but in this scenario, it wouldn't even matter what the super delegates did, but there is technically a loophole, which we will get to, but yeah, we're not in the year of 1892 where it was decided all at the convention, it was chaotic. We're not at that stage just yet. No prominent Democrats have called for Biden to step aside, and there's no known serious conversations about it. The Democratic Party is united in supporting President Biden, who will be his party's nominee this fall and will make Donald Trump a loser a second time, this November. So this does demonstrate that Democrats, at least on paper and publicly, want Biden as their nominee, which, again, that's just pathetic, but it's reality. They, on paper, have no intention of trying to move on from Biden. In the modern era, a national party has never attempted to adversarially replace their nominee, in part because they know it would likely fail. The issue came before both parties in 2016, but neither took such drastic action. Yeah, both parties, just in 2016, there were talks on both sides of potentially removing either Clinton or Trump. The Access Hollywood tape provoked some prominent Republican leaders to call for ditching Donald Trump, but then RNC chairman Reince Priebus said no such mechanism exists. So it was the Access Hollywood tapes that they were going to try to throw him out on. They never did. But the one that's actually a bit more fascinating is the one on the Democrat side because, well, let's just read it. Meanwhile, then interim DNC chair Donna Brazile wrote in her memoir that she nearly replaced Hillary Clinton after the candidate collapsed during a September 11th memorial service. Yes, this is a real thing. Remember when that happened? When she collapsed? AKA health concerns. Democrats knew about it, and they almost decided to throw her off the ballot just a couple months before the presidential election. Think about that. I mean, we're what? Like 9 months away? They did it almost 3 months beforehand. You know, this is why the 0.1% possibility does exist. I mean, you cannot say there's 0% chance. They nearly did it back in 2016, and that's when Hillary was collapsing. Here you have Biden tripping upwards, looking lost, doesn't know who the president of Egypt is. It's a mess. Still, the DNC charter does make provisions in case the party's nominee is incapacitated or opts to step aside. Yeah, there is, in fact, in the DNC's rulebook, there is a process that does exist on paper. Now, the easiest way to pull something is through the primaries, and they get into detail about how, well, you know, you could run a writing candidate and try to get delegates that way, but that's not what's going to happen. If they were to throw Biden out, it's not going to be through this. I mean, let's face it. A writing campaign against Biden, not going to happen. It's not going to work. They're going to try something like this. Because there is a possibility of, hey, what if Biden just drops out? Right? He drops out between now and the convention. Biden has said he will remain in the race in that there is no indication otherwise. But the only plausible scenario for Democrats to get a new nominee would be for Biden to decide to withdraw. He could do so while serving out the remainder of his term in the White House, as Lyndon Johnson did in 1968. Yeah, we're getting more comparisons in 1968. Lyndon B. Johnson, after he got embarrassed in New Hampshire, he dropped out. If Biden were to drop out between now and August, it would most likely create a free-for-all at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in August. If Biden calls it quits before he wins the majority of the Democratic delegates, it likely wouldn't make a difference. Any new candidate who tried to enter the race would be unlikely to get on enough of the remaining ballots and therefore couldn't win enough delegates. Ultimately, the decision would likely come down to the convention delegates who were initially pledged to Biden. It takes a majority of the roughly 4,000 pledged delegates to win the party's nomination. Under recent reforms, the party's more than 700 superdelegates are allowed to vote only if no one wins a majority of pledged delegates in the first ballot, so their votes could be crucial in a contested convention. So, basically, it would be absolute anarchy if he drops out, which I think is the only possible way Biden to not be the Democratic nominee is for him to drop out. Now, the one you're probably thinking about is, well, couldn't they theoretically just remove him against his will? Well, this is where things become a very big question mark. There's no evidence the party would entertain a change without Biden's consent. But even if they did, there is no mechanism for the National Party to replace a candidate before the convention, certainly no way for them to anoint a chosen successor. If large swaths of the Democratic Party lost faith in Biden, delegates to the National Convention could theoretically defect en masse. Of course, they were chosen to be delegates because of their loyalty to Biden and have pledged to support him at the convention. But unlike many Republican delegates, Democratic delegates are not technically bound to their candidate. DNC rules allow delegates to, in all good conscience, reflect the sentiments of those who elected them, providing them some wiggle room. The party's charter does contain provisions to replace a nominee in the event of a vacancy. The measures are intended to be used in the case of a death, resignation, or incapacitation, not to replace someone who has no desire to step down. That was the measure Brazil considered invoking after Clinton collapsed 2 months before the 2016 election. And, you know, that's the best comparison we got. That's when Hillary was having very bad health issues, collapsing, God knows what was happening behind closed doors. That's when things were really bad for Hillary. It is the best comparison we got. And overall, there still is this technicality. When you read in between the lines, there is some kind of provision, or at least an indirect provision that could get rid of Biden. Now, like I've said, the chance of Democrats going down this route is very unlikely. I mean, you're talking about, all right, Biden literally can't move now. He goes full FDR. He can't walk or something crazy. He barely walk now, but I'm just saying, like, he's in a wheelchair bound. At that point, yeah, they might have to pull that, but if he's still just being Joe and forgetting where he is, I don't know if they do that. But there is that possibility of them removing Biden. Now, like I've said, this is the 0.1% chance that it happens. That is the rarest of rare circumstances. It could happen. For it to happen, though, I think Biden really needs one big health breakdown, like he goes wheelchair bound or something crazy like that. Because, yeah, I mean, they only did it when Hillary collapsed during 9/11's memorial service. That's the only way that they're going to even consider getting rid of Biden. If something like that happened, yeah, he's probably gone. But will that happen? I don't think so. I think they're going to keep him in such a short leash that they're not going to really make him move. I mean, it's funny to joke about, but kind of sad that they're going to basically have the president of the United States just sit in a corner. Don't move. Don't breathe incorrectly, because if you do, you're probably not going to be the nominee. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.